You spent countless hours in the garage with your dad. Now investing in that old car and working on it with your son reminds you of him. And his legacy lives on. Fund your passion with a low-interest home equity line of credit from Bank of Blue Valley.
Oh!
What are you doing?
Come on. It's like you slide in. You know, I feel like
is that what's going on?
Yeah, it's like the rolling chair. I feel like there's a football crew, since we're kind of a sports show.
Oh, totally.
But they do that every time for Monday Night Football. So, but
I've never
how was
seen
your
that
day? Go ahead.
I said I've never seen that, but I don't watch Monday Night Football, so that's probably why. They just roll in?
It's kind of like a slide. I can't think of it. One of the guests will correct us. I guarantee all four of these folks would know the answer. But speaking of answers, Bank of Blue Valley and Burns and Mac have a lot of answers. If anyone's ever pondering, especially the 1,000+ open positions currently going on at these organizations building Kansas City. What do you think about that, Aaron?
Yeah, you know what's really funny? I think I might have said this before, but my kids now call them my bosses, and I haven't had a boss in a really long time, right? So anytime we go by Bank of Blue Valley or Burns and McDonnell, my kids are like, there's your boss, be on your best behavior, because I have like cool teenagers, right? And it's kind of fun. Like, I feel like if we're going to have bosses, these are pretty great bosses to have.
I would tell you, so obviously Melissa at Burns and Mac and her old team, but Beth hates it when we call her our boss at Bank of Blue Valley. So if she's watching, she'll probably smack my wrist next time we see each other. Or maybe if I'm pouring a drink at the speakeasy, she'll be okay with it. But anything going crazy in your world? I mean, I know your company's doing really well, but Elon Musk bought Twitter. I mean, you doing all right? There's a lot of media going on.
Yeah, I know. In my world, breaking news like that, you want to be the first to post it. So I think that I got right in there yesterday before everyone else did over here on LinkedIn. It's interesting. So I've said for about the past year and a half, Twitter's been in the black, and I've said somebody's going to buy it before the end of 2022. So I got that part right. What I've also said is that I believed it was going to be a war between Microsoft, Google, and Facebook, or Meta, whatever it is. It was going to be between those three. I didn't see it coming until a couple of weeks ago that Elon Musk was going to buy it. But so I was half right in my world.
Well, you only have to bat 300 to go to the Hall of Fame, and you're batting 500.
Perfect.
Speaking of people batting over 500, the panelists today are not only a crew that you want to hang out with, do business with, but it's definitely a group that you want to do happy hours with.
Well, I know. So, and I only think one of them is drinking right now. So hopefully the rest are making drinks. I want to say hi to everybody over here, though, real quick before we bring panelists on. Hi, Joel. How are you? Thank you for coming on. Isaac says, yo, family. Hey, Isaac. And it looks like Isaac's saying, Harrison, get on here and watch. Christopher said, let's go. So you need to tell us who you are, what you do, where you're watching us from, because we're super excited, and tell us who you're excited to listen to today. Over here in the comments is a great place to network. We hear about people doing business all the time from these comments over here. I don't know which way they are on the screen, but so make sure that you let us know that you're there. All right, let's bring in our panel. Should I do music?
I love the music. It's good.
It's so bad, but I'm going to
It's good.
It's really bad. You like it? All right.
I was just texting Nick.
Our first guest today is one of my besties, Casey Wright.
Hello.
I just got to meet like 5 seconds ago. I'm super excited to learn about him. Larry Lewis.
Hello, hello.
Hi, Larry. We got Dan Vater. And last
Hey, everyone.
Marc Shaffer. The music's so bad.
I love the music. It's like a game show.
Oh, it's something. I do it for you. All right. Well, thank you all for coming on. I'm so excited. Look, we've even got more people watching. Nick says, stop. He's here for Marc and Casey. Rock stars. All right. Larry and Danny's excited to see you guys too. Okay. I know you got people coming on too. So let's get started. Casey, who are you? What do you do? And how do you get to Kansas City?
Hi, I'm Casey Wright. I work with president and owner of Chief of Staff, a local recruiting firm based in Brookside. We do finance and accounting, administrative, HR, and sales and operations recruiting for primarily Kansas City-based companies, but we do have a national reach. I've been in the industry for about 16 years, became owner 3 years ago. How did I get to Kansas City? Long story. I grew up in Topeka. I was there from birth until sophomore year of high school. Marc and I share that in common. My dad was driving back and forth from Topeka to the Plaza for years, was getting to be quite hard on the family. That's all I knew. I did not want to leave. I was very upset with my parents when they said we're going to up and move to Kansas City. I didn't know anything about the big city, but finally, after a couple of years of searching for a house and trying to sell our house, we moved here. It was literally the last day of high school, sophomore year, and my parents had already moved up here, and I was coming off of a state championship football team, and I thought that was the biggest deal in life, and certainly didn't want to leave that behind, and was very upset with my parents for making me move, and not only making me move, but the middle of high school and the first day of summer when I don't know anyone here. It was about as bad as it gets for a high school kid, but quickly realized how much I love the Kansas City, and I've been here ever since.
So Casey, now that makes a lot of sense. Whenever there's an event, you're always like, who's going to be there? When is it? I think that sophomore year plays a little bit into that. But on another note, we as we entered into this pandemic, you were constantly kind of like Aaron was saying, hey, she was ahead of the game on thinking Twitter was going to sell. You're saying I've never seen a job market like this. I've never seen a job market like this. And it kept coming. But the interesting thing is you're always sharing great tips for people that are in the market. And one of them I didn't realize were the executive level and the people that are hiring are kind of bumping into each other. What are some other trends that you're seeing with your company that's just kind of current events that in the job market today?
Trends, a lot of trends. And we've talked about this. We've all spoken several times, but at the beginning of the pandemic, everyone only wanted remote. Everyone was doing what we're doing right now. Everything was virtual, and people were figuring that out. And for about the first year or so of the pandemic, if somebody asked us what's the work situation, 99% of the time they were hoping to be able to work from home. They either for comfort level with the spread of the disease, or they'd gotten in a routine where they could put on sweatpants and a hat and work at their home office. That's all people wanted. Well, over time, we started to see that shift. And I remember about a year ago, I think it was maybe 14 months ago, somebody asked me, like, what's the work situation? What's the arrangement? I was like, hey, good news. It's 100% remote. She's like, no, thank you. I was like, what do you mean? She's like, I'm so sick and tired of working from home. She's like, I need to get back into the office and see people and interact. And so now the trend we're seeing is the companies that offer a hybrid schedule, whether, it's a couple of days a week from home, a couple of days in the office, are having the most success versus 100% you got to be in the office or 100% from home. So that's something that kind of caught us a little bit off guard on the front end when I first heard it, because all we'd been hearing was 100% from home. But that's probably the trend that I've been seeing the most recently.
I wonder if how do the companies that just say it's your decision, you can work for where, if you want to work from home, if you want to work from office, but we're not going to put the parameters around, how do those companies fare out?
Well, and that's what I'm saying, is giving them the flexibility and giving them the option. Yeah. It's I think a lot of times the people that are the most adamant about a company being willing to allow them to work from home aren't actually the people who are going to work from home. It's a mentality thing. It's, hey, we're offering flexibility. We're going to be accommodating to whatever fits the people the best. There's certain people that are way more productive from home. I mean, it cuts, the drive time out. It cuts out the distractions. There's other people that get a ton of energy from being around people. There's certain jobs that you just absolutely can't do from home. There's construction and manufacturing and certain other industries where it's essential that you're there at all times. But I think if a company allows people to work within their strengths and their interests, they're going to be the ones that are most successful in attracting and retaining talent, for sure.
Can I bring this up too? Because it's interesting with staffing probably, is the fact that the pandemic happened. We weren't going into my office, which we can talk about in a little bit, but we decided, why do we need to hire somebody here? So dynamic, hybrid, we started hiring people out of the state. So now we have 3 employees and we're a small company of 11. The 3 of these people I've never met in person, but we did the interviews virtually. We got an Amazon package of everything they need, shipped a computer and an internet phone, and then they're up and running within the next few days. And that's been probably what we're going to continue to do, because finding good people can be hard to do. But if you have the world to look at, it's pretty interesting that that's possible.
Sure.
Yeah, we do the same thing. Half of our team is not here. We had some people that were here, wanted to move to cooler places by the beach. And then when that worked out, we started hiring. And yeah, we do some sort of thing to meet everybody once a year, which has been kind of fun to keep that camaraderie. But yeah, the world's
one quick thing before you move on to Larry. I think it's important that people are listening and hearing this, because Casey's dealing with this situation 20 plus times a week, and then all of us are spoiled that we meet with a bunch of other businesses, and I really don't think it's ringing in people's ears. They get caught up in their own world, and they think they have the solution that they got to be 100% remote. And I think it's, the classic to bring up, we were talking about early 2000s and things going on. It's kind of like when you had a gym at the office and people served beer on Friday afternoon. It was kind of the thing, even though you didn't drink the beer and you didn't use the gym. It's knowing that it's there. It's just a different way, but it's really important. I think, Marc and Aaron, you're crushing it by meeting people where they are.
Well, I appreciate Casey because we all do a peer group together, and Casey talked about this in our peer group, and I was looking for new commercial space for studio. So I reached out to my team that's here, and I said, did you guys want to work back in the office? And every single one here said, we'd like that option too. Sometimes we do. And I was like, thanks, Casey. So now I'm looking for more commercial space, Casey. Thank you.
You're
but
welcome.
Yeah, you're right on. I think just listening to your team is really important too. So, well, thank you for joining us, Casey. We've been working on you for 2 years on here. So
thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, look, Christopher is not wrong. He says we have a stellar lineup today, so we're going to jump in. Larry, who are you? What are you doing? How do you get to Kansas City?
Okay, great question. So keep me at 5 minutes because I can talk. So Larry Lewis, I'm a junior. I'm an executive director for Growing Futures Early Education Center. And at Growing Futures, we serve early Head Start and Head Start families, children 0 to 5, serving the families and children that need us the most, getting them everything that they need, resources in the communities, therapy, speech therapy, all the supports that they need in order to get them prepared and ready for school. So by the time that they walk into kindergarten, everything that they may need that could be a challenge or an obstacle, we are providing for them in an educational environment. So that's the organization and what I do, and it's a great passion behind that. So how'd I get to Kansas City? All right. So long story short, my parents worked for a fantastic restaurant called Piccadilly Cafeteria, and they moved us all over the South. And then at 8th grade, for some reason, they happened to fall upon Overland Park, Kansas, of all places, right? So my first day in school, I walk into the school in 8th grade. I won't throw out names of schools yet, but 8th grade, walk in, and I look around the school, and my first words were, where are all the Black people? I was completely alone, right? It was an absolute culture shock, something very different for me.
Oxford Middle School.
Yeah. No. Overland Trail Middle School. Don't tell me.
Okay.
Overland Trail Middle School, right off 135th Street. So from there, I ended up at Blue Valley Northwest High School. I am a Husky, state champs this year, baby. And then we had the fantastic opportunity to go to Hutchinson Community College. Went on to be a Wildcat, EMA to that. And in that time, Coach Snyder, who I play for, one of the greatest coaches that'll ever do it, told me I had to volunteer somewhere, and I happened to walk through the doors of the Boys and Girls Clubs. And 20 plus years later, I'm still in youth development. I drank the Kool-Aid, got bit by the bug. Throughout growing in the career, I left about 6 years ago to go to Oklahoma and continued pursuing my career and growing and learning the work. Got into early education during that time when I transitioned away, and wanted to come back to the place that gave everything to me, that set my foundation and sent me off on the trajectory that I've been on. And it was time for my family to come back home. And so we started looking for fantastic opportunities to bring us back to this area. And I happened to fall upon Growing Futures, which has always been the mission of my career's path in just providing opportunities for the families that need us the most. I think I stayed under 5 minutes.
You did so good. I have a quick question. It's a nonprofit, correct?
It is a nonprofit organization. Yes, it's actually one of the original Head Starts. We actually started in '65.
Oh, wow. Why have I never heard of it?
Oh, that is why I'm here today, to start getting our name out there and bringing the exposure, the right exposure across the metropolitan area, because the work that we are doing is dynamic. It's life changing for children, families.
Okay, I have one more question, then you can ask your question, Scott. Hold on, because you usually ask questions, but I'm like enthralled right now, right? So you played football at K-State.
I did.
I think you're a little bit older, but have you connected with TJ Roberts? Do you know TJ Roberts?
TJ and I do not know TJ Roberts.
So you need to connect with him. He's been on this show before, and he actually was one of the first disabled athletes ever to play football at K-State, and he has won all sorts of awards. He's doing some really cool stuff in the same space. So we need to get you connected. He's awesome. You'll love him.
I believe I ran across him. Scott, correct me if I'm wrong. Is that who was at the that event last week?
Yep.
Okay.
So we're not going to throw out ages here, but
Thank you.
yeah.
Thanks, Scott.
Hey, don't. Yeah. So, but yeah, there is. If you threw out an early 2000 reference of the boy band or the grunge era, TJ wouldn't know it. But yeah, amazing human being that Larry recently just got to speak. I'm selfish. 65 since 1965.
Yep,
So, I mean, give us a little bit of the history. I'm a huge history person. Obviously, everything Mayor Sly James has been focusing on the Missouri side. I mean, give us the background of how it's been around since 1965.
Yeah, so it's one of the, like I said, one of the original Head Start programs across the nation. And we are currently housed in downtown Overland Park now in an old elementary facility that was built in 1949. And so we've been housing this space for a number of years, and we're just serving the families in this community that need us the most. What we're trying to do is bring awareness in Johnson County. Johnson County is an excellent community, and there's not a lot of awareness. As you mentioned a moment ago, you didn't even know we existed. But
and I live in Overland Park.
Yeah.
Right down the street.
Exactly. And so, there's not a lot of awareness, but Scott, what we want to do is bring awareness, because there are a number of families that need us the most. In the age range of 0 to 5, just in this community alone, there are 4,000 children that are below the poverty line and that we could be serving. And we're only able to serve about 223 of those children. There's another Head Start in our area, and they can only serve up to 180. So that means we're only serving 10% of the 4,000 children that need us the most. And we're working very hard and diligently to focus around the families that we can support, and seeing how we can reach further to continue supporting not only the families we have, but families that they have access to through some of our home visiting programs, and providing them with those materials and education and resources that they need, so that the children can continue to move forward and be ready for school. It is so exciting to see when they're able to walk through that door in kindergarten and be ready for school, because they have their glasses, because they couldn't see. They have their hearing issues taken care of. Their dental is taken care of. All of these fantastic opportunities we provide for these children, along with their social emotional foundation, is being developed through the work that our fantastic teachers do with them every day.
So one quick question. What do you like most about being back in Overland Park, Kansas City?
Man, there are a number of things about it, but if I had to pick one, it's the moment I got back, I felt welcomed again. I felt as though I had never left for those 6 years. I've been able to get back into the community, and this community is small, and I've run into so many people that were a part of the influence in my life, my coaches, some of the people I grew up with, and it's as if I never left, but I left. And now I got to get back into the community and get to meet all these other fantastic people like yourselves, to then get them connected to the work that we're doing.
Well, you got some fans over here. Isaac says, I see you, Larry. That's a great story. Also, hi, Casey. Isn't the thing.
What's up, Isaac?
And then Larry is amazing. So you've got all sorts of people over here. Steve also says, hello, all. Nice Tuesday for all. Yes, nice Tuesday to you as well, Stephen. All right. Well, Larry, I'm super excited to ask you learn some more, and definitely learn some more about your nonprofit. All right, Dan, who are you? What do you do? And how did you get to Kansas City? Dan. I think Dan froze on us.
Dan, he's chiming back in. He's a home.
Okay.
All right, you're ready to go.
Here I am. Everybody went there for a minute. I'm sorry. Did I miss an introduction? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just said,
Yep.
Who are you? What do you do? And how do you get to Kansas City?
Okay. Tough act to follow, Larry. Congratulations to you. You're doing great work. I'm familiar with that organization, primarily because I'm a professional beggar. I have been in the development field for many, many years. I don't even need to tell you how many. But currently serving as development director for the Arts and Recreation Foundation of Overland Park. If any of you have ever visited the Deanna Rose Children's Farmstead or the Overland Park Arboretum, or have experienced any arts in the city of Overland Park, you've seen the work of the foundation. So the foundation was set up as a 501c3 in order to raise private donations to benefit the Arboretum in Deanna Rose in public arts in Overland Park. So that is kind of a little bit of the history, the background of that organization. Scott serves on our board. Thank you, Scott, and you do a great job. And I like to think, and I like to say that obviously a lot of people hear about Overland Park getting these national recognition and awards as livable cities and great places to raise families, et cetera. And I certainly think Deanna Rose and the Arboretum are factors in that. And so we work to support those so that they can be the best that they can be. And I will just say, right now there's a major construction project going on at the Arboretum that will expand the footprint of that facility, both in a new 22,000 square foot building facility, as well as beautiful new gardens and grounds that will extend to the west of the current footprint. So next year, hopefully about this time next year, that will be wrapped up and we will be opening that to the public. The other question I think I need to answer is how I got here. I am a native Kansas Cityan. Was born in the old St. Mary's Hospital, which is no longer around, but grew up in this area. And except for 3 years I spent in Colorado Springs as a kid with my family, I've been an area guy, Leawood, Overland Park kind of guy. I know that Casey and Larry both mentioned high schools and their state championships. I went to a school that has a couple of them, Rockers High School. So they have a couple of those. And I know I'm in enemy territory. But okay.
Nope.
Rock Chalk to Jayhawk basketball. Okay.
I got you there, Dan. Rock Chalk, buddy.
Thank you.
Casey was in New Orleans.
Yeah.
I was.
Anyways.
So
were you?
Dan,
Good for you. Yeah, that's fantastic. So anyway,
good.
Go ahead. I just was going to wrap up and say that's a little bit about me, development work. My first job in development was as development director at Rockers High School, which was a great 4 years. And if you've ever been there and seen the Rose Theater, that's why I was there. I raised the money for that facility. So that's it. Go ahead.
So Dan, you are my boss, and Larry is Marc's boss. And so Aaron may also be working for you as well. But one thing a lot of people don't realize is Kansas City knows a lot about Jazzu, but they don't know a lot about STEMs.
Yeah.
And so and honestly, I grew up in Overland Park, kind of like I was blown away when Larry mentioned that his organization had been around since 1965. Give a little bit of the history of STEMs and what it is, because I didn't know about it until I joined you.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, I'd like to talk about that. The foundation itself has been around since 1995, but in 2008, we created an event. The city really needed a signature event, so they created what they call STEMs. It's kind of Jazzu light. It's not as big as Jazzu, but I tell you what, it is a lot of fun. And it is the best venue in the area for a outdoor party, and that is the Overland Park Arboretum. This year, STEMs takes place on June 25th at the Arboretum, and it features several restaurants in serving their wares and tents, beverages, of course, entertainment. It's a great evening to really take all that in. We have several corporate sponsors who like to use this event to either entertain clients or reward their key employees, things of that sort. And like I said, this year we're going to be a little bit lighter because of the construction project Next year, STEMS will be a big, huge blowout, but it's a great event. It's a great night, rain or shine, entertainment, food, drink. If you get a chance and want to do something on a Saturday night in June at the Overland Park Arboretum, come out and join us.
So Dan, question I know Aaron's going. What are some of your favorite vendors, the food folks that come out to STEMS? What are you excited about?
Yeah, we do reach out to the local groups. We like to obviously feature what we call local, being those that are based in Overland Park, but obviously we reach out to others. One of our best partners has been Fiorella's / Jack Stack. If you guys all remember, the Ritz Charles facility is now Fiorella's event center. And so they do catering and host events there. And they're a big partner of ours. And of course, we expect them back this year. And, some of the other local vendors, and I'm drawing a complete blank, which is weird because that's absolutely my responsibility. But we also have friends like Boleyn's. We like to do a variety. So, we want our food stations to represent all kinds of different foods. And hopefully, we'll be offering that again this year.
Scott, Casey, have you guys ever been to Fearless?
Just once or twice.
You sit on a board that has our event there every year, and it's kind of a fun event. I really appreciate Deanna Rose. I really appreciate your organization because it makes it affordable to go to Deanna Rose. So I was a single mom, and we spent so much time there because that was one of the only thing that was affordable to do back before I had anything much money to do entertainment. So that's why I love your organization so much.
I was
for many years, the Arboretum was free. But they instituted a very nominal fee. I think it's a $3 fee now to get in. But the best way to go about doing that, each of those venues has a friends group. And you pay one fee for the year. You get a card. It's free admission. I suggest you look into that if you're a frequent visitor. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you for coming on. And all right, Christopher says he's here for you, Marc. So who are you? What are you doing? How do you get to Kansas City?
All right. I know Chris is a K-Stater. We've got Larry as a K-Stater. I am a connector of people and resources. They call it a CFO for Searcy Financial Services. That's a new role that got promoted here earlier this year. So I'm excited about that. But got to Kansas City. Well, let me tell you what we do. Financial planning and investment management. For physicians, small business owners, and we have a tradition of helping families with special needs kids. I also am an owner in another company called Allos Investment Advisors, and I can tell that story later, but that's a company that was created for helping people that didn't have a lot of wealth, because our business is structured into helping people that were wealthy. And there's the missing spot for helping people from the beginning, from young age, to get there. I got to Kansas City, went to K-State, and I was a part of the Financial Planning Association and came as a student to a Financial Planning Association chapter meeting in Kansas City, where I met the founder of my company. And I was a student. I saw him drive away in a nice car. I said, I want to get to know that guy better. Connected with him. And he said, why would I ever hire you? You don't have any experience. So I said, if everybody says that, I'm never going to get hired anywhere. So I ended up finding a job in St. Louis, originally from Topeka. So Vikings are better than Hayden, Casey, both from Topeka. But I knew that I eventually wanted to come back to Kansas City. I stayed in contact with the founder of that company. And a year later, I called him and I said, I don't know what you call experience, but I've passed my Series 7, Series 65, Life, Health, and Accident, and CFP, Certified Financial Planner. And so it just happened that he needed to hire somebody. So I came back to Kansas City a year out of college. I've been there for 16 years now. He recruited me to the extent of, we want you to have opportunity in this company. I didn't want to go somewhere and be a number. I wanted to be in a small company and eventually be an owner. Fast forward now, became an owner 12 years ago. The other partners we've attracted since I bought in have now bought the rest of the company from the founder. So that happened late last year. So that's an exciting announcement. In addition to helping us create the second company in Allos Investment Advisors. I'm interested in growing. And to Casey's point, you'll like this, Casey, because I asked him a couple months ago, I would love to hire a woman financial advisor. Because Aaron, you can probably relate to that. My industry is all full of old white guys, right? There's no diversity. We hired a new person and happens to be remote. So out of Charlotte, she started a month ago. And another fun thing about the company, to your point, Aaron, is we're bringing them all in to meet each other and do a Kansas City day for a Tuesday through a Saturday here in about 3 weeks. We figured it'd be better than a holiday party in December in Kansas City, a May event bringing people here. So even though we're 11 people, there might 6 people aren't even in Kansas City, although the company was founded here in the 70s. So that's kind of my story. My title, Larry, is I serve on the board of Growing Futures and have done that for several years. Oddly enough, Larry and I also have the same degree from K-State, Family Studies and Human Services. And so there's lots of mutual connections. Dan, you should have my check. I am a sponsor of STEMS. I've been several years, and I love that. I think Scott is. So it's fun to see everybody come together today.
Marc, thank you for your support in the community. And now a hard-hitting question.
Yeah.
When are you going to stop working so hard? I used to compete with Ben Anderson, and then we just decided to quit. But I admire your work ethic more than just about anyone in Kansas City because we're around the same age. Where does that come from? Where does that burning fuel to continue to get out there and do it?
Oddly enough, everybody says they love what they do, but fortunately for me, over the last 3 years, we've hired additional people and made them partners, and they're doing things that they like to do, which allow me to do things I like to do, right? So if I had to do everything, we were a smaller company when I started 16 years ago. So that burnout of you have to do the things you don't like, now everybody's kind of working in a capacity to do what they love. But what has and will slow me down is having a baby. So we just had a baby, my wife and I, early January. So daycare started for us 3 weeks ago. The responsibility associated with the kid is its own. It's crazy. It's fun, but that's going to slow me down a little bit, but I've been waiting for that a long time. So it's fun.
Okay. Well, you dodged that question. Go back 2 years before you did the drag out, got everyone bought out. Everyone know that runs a business. That's very, very hard to do. Where was that? Where's that fuel? Where does it come from? Because your longevity and endurance is amazing.
I think it's oddly enough, I think it was Mike Searcy's been a great mentor. He's the founder of my company, but I've gotten to hear and learn from him and seeing, like, you guys are all in advice business too, whether you want to admit it or not. Mine's just financial, right? But seeing the reward of doing things that he had done for years, because he'd been working with people since they were in their 20s and now they're in their 60s, and I'm helping them now, seeing it on the tail end of saying, thank you for helping me 30 years ago. So I kind of envision that satisfaction will be coming in my part for the people that we're taking care of, because now we're getting younger generations. The mentorship that he did for me is also fun, because now we're mentoring younger owners in the company because they're up and coming. All of them have different talents, so they're focusing on different things that I might be, but I'll just admit I'm in a good spot. It's exactly what I would be doing. My wife would say, what would you be doing in retirement? I'd do the same stuff probably. So not in any hurry to get there because I'm in a good role, and we're on board for growing the company significantly now that the buyout has happened too.
So I think you're a genius on your new side company, because I will tell you, I sit in the social media space, right? In TikTok, the TikTok space. I always end up taking this conversation back to TikTok. But one of the most trending things continues to be on TikTok is financial literacy, being smart with your finances, not ending up, because the younger generations did see 2008 and their, parents and go through that and stuff. I think that you're in a great space in that starting to work younger, because I believe that they're all going to be way more wealthy than we are when you're dealing with the big numbers. So that's
and the other thing that you could probably relate to is we had minimums at the firm that Searcy, working with higher net worth, and it wasn't always that way. But I said, as a young person, so I just tell these people that want to work with us, just find me when you have money, right? And why would they do that? So I really think that by focusing on that, that's the future of the business, where if we don't, now I'm working with 60 plus clients that are great, but they're spending their assets. That's what they work for, right? So that's a dying business unless you grow it on the other end. So yeah, I was glad that the founder allowed us to do that, but he didn't want to dilute his brand that he built for 30 plus years. So it's fun that we got to create a new company, website, branding. You can relate to that. That's kind of a fun deal, but it's also hard work and a new website. Yep.
I imagined, have you ever seen Pursuit of Happiness, guys, when Will Smith walks by and he has the car? That's kind of how I imagine you with that founder. Or he's like, what do you do? Okay, I'm going to learn that. That's where my mind went to when you said you came back a year later. So
is that bad that when you brought that up, I thought of Wolf of Wall Street when Jonah Hill goes to Leonardo DiCaprio and says, what do you do? But
all the same though, right?
Yeah, but Marc, I think an important lesson, kind of like Casey shared about, the ability to meet people where they are. I think, if you're taking time and you're being diligent of your time, there's a lot of things you can do to get out there and be well known. But no matter what, by doing those meetings, you're really doing meetings for everything that you do, which leads to referrals. It's kind of like Casey screening candidates or as associate screening candidates. It's a really good use of time. And I think that's an important lesson when people think of like, I got to go to this happy hour or this coffee, but if they can be doing what they do, even though it doesn't make them money, but it's in the same sphere, people want to thank them. And oftentimes that could be a referral. Congrats on daycare 3 weeks ago.
Surviving, sleeping a little longer now. It's good.
You're going to blink and it's just, they're going to be teenagers and slamming doors in your face. So enjoy it while they're little. I'm very jealous of you. So just hug them a little. Yeah. Okay, y'all, it's time for the Burns and McDonnell question of the day. Are you ready? Casey, as soon as this question's over, it's on to you. You get to answer, okay? Here we go.
All right.
Hi, my name is Megan Stretz, and I'm an HR business partner here at Burns & McDonnell. I work with employees to help them develop a career path to success. My question for you today is, what helps you keep employees at your company?
Whew, that's a tough one. I get asked this every single day, and there's still not a perfect answer for it. What keeps people in my company is different than what keeps people at different size companies, different industries. I think adaptability is probably what I'd come up with. I can't tell you how many times I've heard from places I've previously worked and from clients of mine that are trying to hire. It's like, well, this is how it worked before. I'm like, well, it's not before anymore. It's now. And this worked for this person. Well, that person has a different makeup than this person. And there's different factors. You know, I've got a client that it's a very male dominated company, industry. And they did a survey a while back, and the men were very happy there. And there's a lot of outings that the men did, just naturally interests, you know, whatever it's golf or going to ball games or whatever. And not that the women didn't also, but they found that they were left out. Well, then the women started a women wine and book club, and now their ratings of the company has skyrocketed. So before that, it wasn't like they were intentionally alienating anyone. It was just that was what was dominant. You know, in my company, we do all sorts of different things. You know, I encourage everybody to get involved in something outside of work. Typically that's, you know, involved with a charity, and we'll sponsor it, which is and we've given them the ability to choose which it is. You know, I think a lot of companies are like, hey, this is a charitable organization that I support, you know, whether it's the owner or the executives, is like, we're going to go rah into this. Well, maybe somebody isn't as passionate about that. Maybe someone is more passionate about the arts than this or you know, this and that. And so I push for people to get involved, and you make the decision. I'll support it, but let them have a say in it. I mean, there's obviously little things. I mean, half my team, I'm spread a little thin this week, because half my team's in Costa Rica right now on a sales incentive trip.
Why are they in? Yeah. What did they? Yeah. So why are they incentive trip? What does that mean for the audience?
They had a really great year last year, but we didn't do it just based on production. We did it based on production and attitude, and basically how good of a team player you are. Like, it was a variety of different things. And we did it for administrative and sales. And so we broke it up into different groups just so we wouldn't all be out at once. But, you know, obviously that's resonated well. My wife is also on a long trip right now for the first time. So this is the first time I've ever been home with the kids by myself for an extended period. So spread a little thin this week. So, if I look tired, that's why. But
thank goodness for Deanna Rose. That's
right. Yeah, it's Sunday we spend at Deanna Rose. We go to the Arboretum all the time. So thank you, Dan, for that. You know, we try and get involved in a wide variety of different things. You know, we preach that culture is the number one thing we focus on for our clients. And if we don't have a good internal culture, how are we supposed to identify good cultures at companies that we work with? And so it's you know, our turnover rate is lower than anywhere in the country for what we do. And I think that's just because we pivot. You know, there's some things pre-pandemic that were big focuses for us. And then once the pandemic hit, it's like, you know, that's not as important, or that's not as relevant, or that's not as feasible. We're going to have to shift gears now. And I see so many huge companies that have just done it the same way, that turning and going a different direction is like moving mountains, and they can't do it. And we're, you know, we are big enough that we can support everybody, but small enough that we can evolve and and change what we do to take care of it, both internal and external clients.
Well, shout out to Chief of Staff for going to Costa Rica. That's amazing. So hopefully people are listening there looking for a great opportunity. One thing, so Aaron and I have been asking each other some hard-hitting questions recently, but an observation, Casey, is you always it seemed to be like when you're stubborn sometimes, but I don't see you stubborn at all, and your willingness to change and adapt is obviously a huge reason for even more continued success. I mean, what do you feel like? Maybe I'm like, no, I'm not that stubborn, or like, do you feel like as you've learned and grown more into leadership and running and owning a company, that's changed a little bit?
I'm certainly stubborn. I mean, ask my wife, ask my family, ask my employees, but I think I'm pretty adaptable as well. You know, I got my start in this industry when I was, right out of college, and I thought I was doing creative things, that were progressive for the time compared to the way my industry had always operated. And I used to laugh at, the guys that have been doing it longer. I'm like, well, yeah, that worked 10, 15, 20 years ago. And I've got hundreds of examples of this, of just how my industry shifted. Well, long story short, I left a firm a few years ago and took a year off and traveled for 12 months with my wife and kids while sitting out a non-compete. And my intention was to start a firm from scratch when I got back. Well, I ended up falling into the opportunity to purchase this one. And a major reason that I did it was because we already had a really good nucleus of a generation younger than me. And I'm aware that I was the young guy not that long ago. I mean, I had to grow a beard to look older. And when people used to ask me, I'm trying to get business, they're like, well, when did you graduate, son? And I'd always say when I graduated high school, even if I knew they meant when I graduated college, to make myself look a little bit old. I didn't lie to them. They didn't specifically say when did you graduate college, but to add a couple of years. Now I'm like trying to get younger and hip, and all my young folks here make fun of me because I'm the old geezer now. But but that's a big reason I chose to buy this. I'm like, Aaron jokes about TikTok, but I don't know what the future is. And, the guys and gals in their mid and 20s are way more aware of that than I am at this age. And that's going to change too. 10 years from now, I'm going to continue to hire some of these younger folks. So we've got people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. We've got a broad range, but there's definitely a reason that I have a heavy number of younger folks is because they're the future. I'm not the future. I'm the old guy now.
You're still younger than me.
Hey, Casey, the next time somebody asks you that, I know you can do what I tell them. When they ask me when I was in school, I say it was so long ago we didn't even have history class.
That's right.
Perfect. I'll take that answer.
All right, Larry, how do you keep people? I imagine it's even harder when you're a nonprofit, right? Because you got to keep them passionate. So how do you keep people?
Yeah, it is actually. And since the pandemic in the world of early education, over 500,000 people have left the field. So it's very difficult to keep people in the current circumstances, that the challenges that arise due to COVID. So I'm going to throw out a couple of things and then give you my philosophy around it. So culture, number one, I think you hit that on the nail. Relationship. Building quality relationships with everyone in your company. I remember a number of organizations that I've worked for. I always said when I became executive director, CEO, president, put a name in there, that I was going to make sure that the people that I worked with knew who I was, and not that, they when they see, they're like, oh my gosh, here he comes. It was more of, oh, hey, here comes Larry, and building that relationship with them just is very key, that you aren't above them, but with them. And then communication. Communication is essential. It's paramount, especially when you're the new guy coming in. I'm the new guy on the block coming into this organization. And, I have a lot of ambition, a lot of thought around the work that we're doing, and communicating to teachers, especially. Teachers are a unique breed. They do not like change whatsoever. And so to bring change, you must bring them along with the process, right? And so the more that you communicate, the more that you're clear around it, the more that you can answer the questions that they have, the better they can receive what looks like some change and opportunity for the betterment of themselves and the children, right? To your point about adaptability, I call it the chameleon effect. from moment to moment, you have to be able to change and go with what's happening in the work, in the field. And it's very important to have that. And if you don't, you can be left behind. So always evolving, right? Being able to evolve, because as you said, those 18, 19, 20-year-olds, they are totally different than where I even am. And I don't consider myself to be old. I still get on the basketball court and play with them a little bit and still engage with them. And so I don't consider myself to be old yet. I might have another ankle brace or two, but I'm still out there. And so when you look at the philosophy of how I go about working with my team to keep those people by my side, it's called Buick. That's the acronym, BUIC. No K on this one. This isn't the old school Buick. This is just without the K, right? So the first thing that you want to do is you want to provide people with these senses. You want to provide them with a sense of belonging. They have to feel like they belong to the organization. And that's the mission and vision of the work that we're doing. Make sure that they feel like they belong. And anybody, I don't want to date myself, but I'm totally about to, the TV show Cheers, the theme song, one of the best theme songs of all time, that and the Golden Girls theme song. But in the theme song, they say, you want to go where everybody knows your name, right? And so it's just building that community, knowing them, calling them by their name, asking them about their lives outside of the office, and just engaging with them on a level that allows relationship to be built. So number one is a sense of belonging. Number two is you want to provide them with a sense of usefulness. Allow them to be useful, right? Give them an opportunity to show the work that they can do through empowering them. And so usefulness is very important. And the work that they do, the children let them know every day that they're useful. And so just making sure that you cultivate that piece of it and allow them to truly feel like they are valued and they're worth more than platinum. The third one is influence, giving them that say-so. Okay, so you touched on this, giving them a say-so, letting them be a part of the process and not just handing things down, which tends to be the case. And when you hand things down, people will start to pull away from what you're doing. And we can't have that, especially in the work that we're trying to accomplish. We're getting these children ready for school. And the last one is competence, allowing them to be a part of something and letting them know how well they do what they do. There's no other better expert than a parent working with that child. Outside of that parent, they are the next expert in working with those children and providing them with that competence and that ability to grow social, emotionally, and being able to grow that foundation for each child. And so providing them with those senses of belonging, usefulness, influence, and competence, that's how you build a strong culture. That's my philosophy and concept and the way that I approach working with my team. And we've been very successful in it.
Awesome. Well, Dan, you're going to have to follow that up. That was pretty good, right?
It's a big shoe to fill. Thank you for sharing. But being in the nonprofit, I'll just piggyback on that. There's an old saying that says you can make $1 or you can make a difference. And I think the nonprofit world attracts people who, yes, they want to make $1, but what really motivates them, and when they go home and lay their pillow down at night, they're feeling good about what they did that day because they made a difference in somebody's life or it made a difference in their community. We are a very small organization. There's just the executive director and myself, and that was it until very recently. We do now have a third full-time employee. So her question about attracting employees, keeping them happy, and retaining them, it's hard for me to talk to that, other than the fact that even again the word nonprofit, I think the best nonprofits operate like a business, and they keep their employees happy, challenged, opportunities for growth. All those things come into play, even though it's a nonprofit organization. So I think the best ones kind of do approach it from that perspective and are the most successful.
Great answer. All right, Marc.
I would say that we read a book a long time ago as a company called Strength Finder. People have probably heard of it. Everybody has different strengths. And at that time, it was like a discovery, like, oh, by the way, I don't like doing this, but someone likes what I don't like doing, and they want to pick up that for me so I can do something for them. And we rearranged workflow, and that kind of got everybody that you've heard of in flow, doing things they're naturally talented at and good at. So that has been very helpful. And then we hire for weakness, finding someone where our weakness is their strength. So I think that's very important to let people play to that. I'm trying to think about what else. We're a for-profit, and so we're in the financial business, so people like to be paid well. But I will admit that people stick with a company where they don't feel like we're a very flat organization. We have a bonus program. There's no one way for any one person to do really well. So if the company is winning, everybody is winning. So sometimes I'm in a revenue generation role. People will take things from me so that I can be out more doing more revenue generation so they can get bonus based on success of the company. So I think that's very important, that not only do they get kind of paid and they don't take the downside risk if you're not an owner, but they have a voice, and we're a small company. So we have direction. We can make changes. We want everybody to be happy. If we want the company to grow a ton, but half of them don't want to grow and they'd rather do a lifestyle practice, we need to figure out how we can still grow to the extent that the owners want to with hiring talent that is interested. So I think it's just having an open, everybody said it, open communication with what your team wants, where they want to go, and getting everybody on the same page, and enjoying the people you serve. Life is short. There's clients that pay well, but it's not worth serving them, and that's fine too. We're at a point where we can say that, but I will admit that we've got a great team taking care of great clients all over the country.
Awesome. All right, and go ahead, Scott.
Are you really leaving me room to ask another question? Or
well, we're really running out of time.
What's going on?
And I did text you, no more extra questions.
I know I don't look at my phone because I can't multitask.
What do you mean? You're a father. You have to multitask.
No, not work.
I have one quick question, but you have to answer within 60 seconds so we can get to my game, okay? So everybody has 60 seconds. Larry, start your stopwatch. Okay, for this. What is your goal to hit by the end of 2022? Casey, go.
I'm really weird about goals. I have a whole philosophy on this. I've gotten lots of long debates with people. I like goals, but I like more abstract goals. I've always been the type that's, if you set a goal, it's very hard to hit it right on. So either people hit a goal early and then they coast, or they're not on track for it and then they have a defeatist mentality. So I'm probably a bad one to ask about that. I want us, I tell everyone, I said, be good people, spend time with good people and work hard, and we're going to be the best there is. And I want to be the best there is. I'm confident we already are. Our firm's 10 years old. I think we are Kansas City's recruiting firm. And we want to be able to help people in many different ways other than just filling jobs and placing people. We want to be the connectors. You guys can relate to this, Scott. Obviously, you're one of the best there is, but I love being able to help people out in a variety of different ways and think of what our relationship looks like 3-4 years from now, not what we do immediately, but over time and how that evolves.
Awesome. All right, Larry, 60 seconds. Go.
Yeah, so for me, it's onboarding myself and truly understanding the organization and the history that has been laid before me so that I can move forward and continue to carry it appropriately. That's very important for me. And building that culture, continuing to work on that culture and build those relationships so that, again, everybody's on the bus, everybody's in the right seat, and we're all going in the same direction. And that's to grow this organization and bring awareness to people like yourself across the metropolitan area.
Awesome. All right, Dan?
Yeah. I think, like I said earlier, those nonprofits, I think that are most successful operate kind of like a business. And at the foundation, it's kind of like that for me too. We sit down, we look at what worked last year, what didn't, what are our growth goals for the next year to increase our overall revenue in for the STEMS event and the Overland Park Mayor's Golf Tournament, which is the other event that we run that benefit our organization. And it's very clearly to beat those goals every year in participation numbers, dollars raised, awareness, et cetera. That's my goal for this year, is to be better than last year.
Awesome. All right, Mark.
My personal goal is to get back out there. In terms of company events, I do that in a couple different ways. When we're bringing everybody to Kansas City, we're having a client team celebration at the Golden Scoop. You should bring Amber on, the owner of Golden Scoop, which employs special needs families. It's a wonderful ice cream shop near Meadowbrook.
Thomas Aquinas graduate.
Yep, that's true.
Amber's great.
So we're doing that in May, but my other way to do that is just to bring people and resources together, because when that happens, good things happen, not just for my business, but for our community. So this is a plug. I'm sponsoring Harvesting Hope with Larry, with my company. That's an event benefiting Growing Futures coming up in October. the STEMS event, bringing people to that with Dan. So we're a sponsor of that. And I see Mike Meyer over here on the side. I am sending a check, Mike Meyer, pretty soon for Art That Blows. And so it's just getting people back out there and just making things happen, because the pandemic has caused a lot of that to stall or happen in different ways. And I have to respect my wife. She's in public health. So I've been a little bit less out there than in the past. So I'm just excited to get back out there this year.
Way to make us look like losers with all your support of the community. That's awesome,
It works.
Mark.
Good things happen.
You're awesome. Thank you.
All right, with our last 4 minutes, we're going to play this game. It's called You Gotta Know Kansas City. I've said this before. It was Scott's Christmas gift that never made it to him. So now we play it on the show. You guys had a great football question picked out, but then I didn't think that was fair because Larry clearly has a football past. So I picked a baseball. If were any of you guys college baseball players? Okay, then we're going to go with this one. Casey, you're going to go first, and then we'll just go back in order. Scott, you can go last because he usually knows the answer. And then if you are watching, guess quickly so we can see if you're right on this as well. All right, here we go. What uniform number is retired to honor Dick Hauser, the first manager to lead the Royals to a World Series title? Casey.
Is there a 20 out there, maybe?
Right.
Frank White.
5 is out there.
20 is Frank White.
Frank White's 20. I don't know. You put me on the spot. I'm not good with trivia.
You can go with 20. What about you, Larry?
1.
1. All right. Dan?
6.
All right. Mark?
10.
Okay. Scott?
Mark, you might have it.
13.
Is it? Okay. And people, we've got about a 20-second delay, so people will probably start guessing here. Mark, are you a big baseball guy?
Nope.
It was number 10. 10 was Dick Hauser's
As soon
number.
as you said that, I good job, Mark.
Good
I
job,
couldn't tell
Mark.
if he was
So you're a
typing
winner
and
today.
Googling.
I said
I'm
10
sure
divided by
Larry,
2.
you
You don't let me finish. Or 20 divided by 2. Sorry.
Sorry.
No,
I'm sorry.
no
I'm sorry.
Googling, Mark. No Googling.
I want to thank
down, Mark.
everyone so much for coming on here. We really appreciate you. Please make sure that you go connect with everybody on. Oh, look, I told you there's a 20-second delay. Dan, of course, had it. Of course.
Hi,
he did.
Dan.
There you go.
Hi, Dan. Please go connect with everybody here. We've got awesome organizations here to support. We've got awesome people you can work with on the for-profit side as well here. Please go connect, hit them up in their DMs, say hello. And we will be back same time, same place next week. We can't leave without thanking Bank of Blue Valley and Burns and McDonnell and my favorite co-host, Scott. Thank you for doing this with me. We will see you next week, same time, same place.